Hey guys, what's going on? How y'all doing? So, something has crossed my mind, and I wanted to really talk about this. I was just thinking about something, and I really wanted to kind of talk about this. I'm sure most of you have seen Rebels. I have seen bits and pieces of it. I refuse to watch it because I am not going to support Freddie Prinze Jr. simply because of what he had to say about us Star Wars fans. And, I wasn't a bit happy, so I've completely boycotted everything that, he was in. Unfortunately, I've had to boycott the live-action Scooby-Doo movies because he's in them, and along with his wife, Sarah Michelle Gellar, which I don't like either anymore. So let's not really talk about that. I really want to talk about the main character Ezra from Rebels. Okay, so this scene is ridiculous because and it's also unfair. The reason why I say it's ridiculous is because Lucas never came up with any form of time travel at all. And not to mention, Ahsoka, he rescues Ahsoka from Vader. Now, there are two problems with this. One, unfortunately, Vader would kill Ahsoka, unfortunately. Two, this is a form of feminism, because, seeing as Ahsoka is female, they wanted to bring her back. So, Ezra saves Ahsoka from Vader. I'm sorry, but she should have died at the hands of Vader, because that's exactly what would have happened. I don't really think Ahsoka was skilled enough. Besides, she didn't identify as a Jedi when, gosh, what does she say? Revenge is not the Jedi way. That's what Vader says. Revenge is not the Jedi way. And then she goes, I am no Jedi. Well, I asked myself, well, if you're not a Jedi, then what are you? Because you're carrying two lightsabers. So, ironically, you're a Jedi. So,
not a Sith Lord, then you're a Jedi.
No, she was carrying two white lightsabers, which is completely stupid. And I think she was identifying as a gray Jedi. And that concept there is stupid, too, because you can't follow both codes. You can't follow the Sith and the Jedi code at once. You can't do that. You either follow the Sith code or you follow the Jedi code.
Exactly.
Either or.
Yeah, you can't do both. It's like, a door. It's either open or closed. Pick one.
Exactly. And so, like I said, Ezra saves, Ahsoka from Vader. She survives. Now, the reason why I said this is unfair is, okay, so you take Luke, for example. If he was able to go back in time, he would have been able to save his father from death, Darth Vader. He would have saved Vader from death. And instead of, Vader having Luke take his helmet and mask off, he would have simply, said, no, I'm taking you to a nearby medical facility. I'm having your suit repaired. Of course, you'd have to negotiate with the rebels, but if he told them, like, hey, if he kind of pleaded with them and told them what had happened, I'm sure that, they would, possibly do what he wished. And I know there was I think there was like a fanfic that Star Wars Theory came out with, which was actually pretty good. What if Darth Vader survived? And that was good. I think he came out with that, or it was someone else, or Stupendous Wave or something like that. I can't remember, but it was a good concept. Vader lived, so it was good. But if there was such thing in time travel in Star Wars, Luke would have been able to go back and save Anakin. He also would have gone back in time and saved Beru and Owen. And that's why I say it's unfair, because if time travel is available in Star Wars, that means that, certain characters can be saved. That's what I say about, Vader and, of course, Owen and Beru. Or even Leia could go back in time and save her planet from destruction. There's all kinds of things that could happen with time travel. But see, Lucas did not invent time travel for Star Wars, so it cannot simply fit into that. The only reason why Disney created time travel is to bring Ahsoka back, because, you know how they are. They're freaking feminists, the feminazis, crap like that. And it's like, I'm sorry, I love Ahsoka. She's a good character, but she would have died. Simple as that. The only Jedi that possibly would have survived an attack from Vader and would have, lived to tell the tale would be Starkiller. Because Starkiller was one of the most powerful Jedi in the EU. So, I mean, he's been almost known to almost kill Vader. He hasn't been known to do so, but he's, been known to almost kill him. I know you do get to kill Vader in The Force Unleashed. Sorry, they get a little confusing sometimes, because, The Force Awakens, The Force Unleashed. So, but yeah, the difference between those is that The Force Awakens by Disney and The Force Unleashed does not. So, but anyway, the whole concept about time travel is just ridiculous. Another thing I also want to address is that in the comics, in the Marvel comics, Vader comics, apparently, according to some people, apparently Star Wars Theory, and I think Stupendous Wave or Star Wars Comic Group or whatever, Vader was trying to bring back Padme. Okay. There's a big problem with that. Padme's death was the sole reason Vader became who he was. Why Anakin became Vader. Because he had lost everything. He lost the love of his life. And if you don't know much about Vader, Vader hated himself for a very long time for that. He blamed himself for the death of Padme. And basically part of it was his fault, was his doing, because he had been the one to break Padme's heart. And unfortunately the other part was Palpatine, because he had twisted Anakin's mind. So, I mean, that's how Palpatine was able to get to Vader, was by basically pulling at the very heart of Anakin's love, was losing Padme. I mean, with his mother's death, that was one of the things that started his path down the dark side, because he was connected to his mother so much. And when Palpatine realized that he was also connected to Padme, and that's when he struck. That's when he realized, this is how I can get him to turn to the dark side, and that's how he did that. He was able to turn Anakin to the dark side by trying to convince him. Well, actually, he did actually convince Anakin by convincing him that he could save Padme from death. Sorry, he could actually save Padme from death, and unfortunately, he failed. And Vader completely blamed himself for that. Vader completely blamed himself for many years, and that was the sole purpose he turned to the dark side, was because of Padme, because of her death. So, bringing back Padme would ruin his character completely. It would basically ruin his personality. Because, Vader was always so bitter. And so, he had much hatred. He had a lot of hatred and a lot of rage. And basically, he would take that anger and rage out on his officers, his troops. Like, for example, Admiral Ozzel or Admiral Monty. He's been known to kill some of his own men. So, I mean, he did that out of anger and rage because, well, I mean, some of the officers were also very ignorant, very stupid, and, some of them were known to argue with him, like, of course, Admiral Monty. And, you don't want to do anything that would piss him off. But Vader was always very bitter, and that was the sole purpose why he was so bitter. Because of Padme. And He loved her like more than anything in the world. Another thing that also turned him to the dark side was he also thought he was responsible for the death of his unborn child. So, I mean, to do that would completely destroy the saga itself, the original trilogy, and also part of the prequel trilogy, because, you know, it destroyed episode 3. Unfortunately, there can be no way that Padme can be brought back. I'm sure that he could probably see her in his dreams, but, you know, he would never be able to bring her back. It's like the time machine. If you've ever seen the time machine, where there's a guy who built, because there's a guy who, I think he was either married to the woman or he was going out with her, and she ended up getting killed. And he built a time machine. He went back many times, and unfortunately the woman kept dying. So, it's fate. It was meant to be. I mean, basically Padme's death, unfortunately, was meant to be. She had to die for his journey to the dark side to be complete. Well, not totally complete, because Vader still had good in him. But Luke was able to recognize that conflict, and he was able to turn Vader back to the light. And that's one thing that people don't understand about Kylo Ren, is that he can never be turned back to the light, because he simply killed his father in cold blood, and that's a completion right there. That's basically like saying that if Luke killed Anakin, if Luke did that, killed his father in cold blood, then his journey towards the dark side would be complete, like Sidious said. Take your father's place at my side, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete. So anybody, even his own sister, would not be able to convince him to turn back to the light. You know. So, I don't know what this crap is with Kylo Ren, but it won't happen. I mean, you think that Rey could possibly bring him back? There's no way. If Han tried to do it, then Rey wouldn't be able to get through to him either. And besides, he's a crybaby. He's a crybaby wannabe Sith Lord, so I wouldn't even bother with him. I also guess I think I should talk about something else. I heard today from Stephanie that Mark Hamill has turned into a full-blown feminist. Now this is grave news, because look, I mean, I don't know if you're watching this, Mark, but you've completely destroyed me. You've destroyed my mother. I looked up to you, man. I did. And my heart is completely broken.
Yeah, we all looked up to him.
I mean, I'm sure my dad even looked up to you. Yeah. And you turn around and look at Sebastian.
Harrison Ford is very disappointed in him.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I mean, I hope Harrison Ford. I bet Carrie Fisher's in her grave right now. You know, basically thinking to herself in the netherworld or wherever she's at. Like, you know, Mark, why are you doing this? Think of Alec Guinness. Think of Sebastian Shaw. You work with both of them, and you're a feminist? They were men, and you worked with them both. Harrison Ford, Peter Mayhew, yeah. Kenny Baker, may he rest in peace. Yeah, you just Anthony Daniels.
Any of your
Dude,
manhood.
You have completely just...
The moment you turn into a feminist.
You have completely destroyed not only me, but you destroyed fans all over the world, man. Just because, I mean, you're a guy, for crying out loud. Feminism is for women. Man, I looked up to you. And now I have no respect for you, because of the simple fact that you are bashing Trump, which I don't like. I mean, I'm 24 years old. I'm in the millennial, era. And don't see me going crying about, oh, Trump got elected. So what? You need to respect the fact that he's in office. I mean, we respected that Obama was not a good president, but yet we still respected that he was in the office. In office. So you need to start respecting Trump. He's trying to do everything in his power to fix what Obama did. And you're sitting there on your duff freaking complaining about him. He's trying to do everything. I mean, this guy is 70 years old. I mean, can you imagine the stress this poor man is going through? I'm surprised he hasn't had a heart attack yet. Because of all this crap that you SJWs are... This poor man is trying to do everything in his power to make America great again, and you're sitting there freaking slapping him down. It's like, why is that? And why, I mean, I think you hang around Tara Strong too long, because Tara Strong is also one of those actresses that are against Trump, and probably also a feminist. I looked up to you too, because you played Timmy Turner, and now I have no respect for you as well. But especially you, Mark Hamill. I grew up watching you. I was 10 years old when I saw Star Wars. Well, I was actually 4 years old, because this is back in, I think I watched it back in 98, 99. Man, I looked up to you. And people all over the world look up to you. And this is how you repay us? By being a feminist? By bashing our president? Man, this is not cool. I know, I seen Stephanie's video today, and I'm so glad that she, I'm so glad that she kind of professed her, you have no idea what Star Wars has brought for people. I was bullied. I was put in foster care. I was molested in foster care. I have PTSD. You want to talk about PTSD? Well, you're looking right at her. I go through anxiety and I go through depression every single day. I struggle with my life because I've had so many bad things happen to me. But Star Wars brings me so much joy and happiness. The original trilogy has brought me so much joy. It's changed me into a better person. It's made me a different person. It has changed my life. And you, Mark Hamill, were part of that. You changed my life. You, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, I'm sorry, not Mark Hamill. You, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker, David Prowse, James Earl Jones, Sebastian Shaw, Alec Guinness, you all changed my life. You made my life better. George Lucas made my life better. And I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. You've been corrupted, man. You need to straighten your act up. You need to fly straight. Because this is unacceptable. I mean, what Rian Johnson did to your character is unacceptable too, but when you're going and being a feminist, that's just totally nuts. You've worked with great people, like I said. And now all of a sudden you're hating on yourself and men? Come on. That is a total insult right there. I'm a woman myself. You don't see me going around being a feminist. Because I don't hate men. Yes, I was molested by a man. But look at me. I'm not a feminist. I may not trust men very well anymore because of what happened. But I'm not a feminist. And you don't see me going around doing the Me Too bullshit. So, I'm sorry, dude, but I did follow you on Twitter, but I'm not following you anymore because I was tired of the political bullcrap you were putting out on Twitter against Trump. Also tired of seeing, well, I think that was pretty much it. I didn't see any feminist stuff, but I seen a lot of the stuff was political against Trump. So, You have no idea what impact Star Wars has made on people like me and my mom and other, it changed people's lives. Unfortunately, now Disney is making it to where it's starting to become garbage. And to see Disney and Lucasfilm and Star Wars itself crumble is hard to see. Especially when you've grown up, when your parents introduce you to Star Wars for the very first time at the age of, when you were 4 years old. It's very hard to see something like that. I grew up with the prequels. But, like I said, you don't see me, doing all this Me Too crap. And it's just, I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, continue being a feminist if you want, but I'm very disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm betrayed. I feel betrayed. Because I always saw you as a hero. Especially in episode 6. When you saved, when your character, Luke Skywalker, saved Darth Vader, your father. But Darth Vader is my favorite character, by the way. But I still saw you as one of my favorite characters. I like Han Solo. I like Leia. Yes. But I always saw you and Darth Vader as, I always thought that, I wish you guys would have had more interaction with each other in episode 6. And unfortunately that never happened. But I mean, there's a reason why people watch Star Wars, especially with their parents, because it basically creates a bond. That's what George Lucas wanted. George Lucas wanted it to be for family and for children, of course. It's not just for children though. It's for everybody, for everyone to enjoy, because Star Wars is a family-related thing. You sit down with your family and watch Star Wars together. It's a bonding thing. It helps your family bond. And see, that's how I felt with you and, Darth Vader. I always thought you two had a very strong bond.